This is the July 2021 Blue Business Development Mastermind for ICF Colorado. Have to put all those words together in my mind. And it's exciting. There's been so much progress. So it's really cool to see everybody. I'd like to introduce Beatrice. How do you say your name, Beatrice?
Oh, my surname?
Yeah.
Dupasquier, Beatrice Dupasquier.
Yeah, see, I don't have much skill in pronouncing French, so, but she comes to us from Barbados. So yet another far-flung member of ICF Colorado, because we are the coolest people on the planet, apparently. So she'll be joining us for the rest of the year, and I'm honored that she reached out to get connected. So,
français, bienvenue. Je parle français aussi.
Ah, très bien.
J'adore la France. J'adore Paris.
Fabulous.
Superbe.
Okay, so as you know, there's 3 parts to the meeting. The first part is that we will give everybody updates on what have we done for business development in the last month. What did we run into? What did we accomplish? What's the current state? Then the second part of the meeting is where somebody brings a topic to be discussed at further depth by the group. And remember that I will always ask you at the beginning, so how is it that the group can help you today? Do you want ideas? Do you want support? Do you want resources? Do you want some coaching? What would be most helpful? And then the third part of the meeting, which will start at approximately 12:15, is where we're saying, what did we take away and we intend to do in the coming month? And that's it. Very, very simple format. Hey, Bettina, good to see you today. So who would like to get us started?
I will.
Okay, Roel.
I'm doing my last homework on CTI certification, and I have 7 ongoing clients, and I have 100 hours. So I have to post it. I just have to post 100 hours, and 100 hours since January.
Oh, okay. So that's quite a bit. Then you've packed a lot in.
Yep. I have 7 ongoing clients, but not all of them can count for certification because some of them are certified coaches themselves.
Ah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Okay. Fabulous. That's very exciting.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying coaching now. It's just great.
Okay. So as far as when I was looking at the certification, having clients who are coaches themselves was quite okay until doing the step of doing the recordings. And then they didn't want that to be coaches. But
it doesn't count for CTI.
It doesn't. Okay. That's what I was wondering.
Can't use them. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. I understand the logic of wanting you to get out there and get some real clients. That's a very good idea.
Yeah.
So, okay, fabulous. Who's next?
I'll go.
Okay.
So I have been working on looking at different platforms, like companies like BetterUp, and working through a list there. I'm pretty solid on BetterUp. I've been up and running with them for about a month. They are keeping as many hours as I mark is available. They're keeping me full. So that's going really well. And it's easy to fit in. I have a full-time job, so it's easy to work that in. I'm ramping up with Modern Health and have interviews with Boone Health as well. Those are more like mental wellness coaching. So that's kind of my first first tier of my strategy, like get these things going so it's solid, and hopefully put me in a position where I might be able to walk away from my full-time job, or look at a different way of doing that where I'm a consultant rather than being tied to the desk from 9 to 6. So that's moving along well for me. And August I got a lot of vacation coming up, so probably
excellent.
Coast for a little bit through August.
Yeah, we got to take some good time. So I'm a little surprised when you say that on top of a full-time job, that when BetterUp is giving you a full slate of clients, that it's easy to fit in. I would have thought that would have been a challenge.
They're mostly half-hour sessions. So, and my calendar syncs right up. So, I can get in a little. And to be honest, they limit the number of clients you can have at the beginning.
Sure.
So I'm doing, I would say, 5 to 10 sessions a week, based on having 12 clients in my roster. So
do you tend to do those in the evening then?
No, actually, I do. I have a super flexible schedule at work where I often have to do evening or weekend events and stuff. So
okay.
I do them during the day, and then I do my work stuff at night.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't have to be chained to your desk 8 to 5 or something. So.
Well, I kind of am, but I can, that's the thing. I can do a half-hour session and I don't miss a beat with work. So
Okay.
It works out. Yeah.
Hey, Matt, any of these clients are in the marketing field, so you can use your knowledge?
I haven't run into them. Mostly the BetterUp people are new managers, middle managers. A lot of people that are just looking for, getting past their own self-talk, getting themselves in a position where they could get promotions or feeling more comfortable with where they are. Really not anything around marketing specifically.
Cool. All right. Excellent. Well, thanks for that, Matt. Appreciate it. Who would like to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay, Jenny.
I've had a lot of house guests, so I haven't had a lot of opportunities, but I am up to 187 hours of coaching, and just still kind of playing around, trying to go to the pool and enjoy the short Colorado summers when I can.
Well, I guess it depends on how you define summer, right? Because if you expect it to be, outdoors and like in Florida or something like that, then yeah, it's pretty short. But I go with the expanded definition that tends to continue into October.
Oh, that's great. I've done a lot of things around the house and cleaning and having things installed and taken care of. So that's taken a lot of my time. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Who's next?
Okay, that would be me then.
Okay, Beatrice.
All right, so I'm pretty new in the business. I've graduated ICA as CPC in May. I'm developing my website to have, a window and to be able to market my business. I've got my first client that I gave a 3 hours package as a pro bono for now, but yeah, and I guess what I'm looking for is how to get more clients, obviously, and how to get outside and get visibility. So I'm trying to get some partnership with some companies, and I am focused on transition. So transition coaching as expats, transitions from country to country, or even with athletes working out of the competition field. So I'm working on that. I've got about maybe 50 hours in, and I would like to work on my PCC ICF certification.
Excellent. Yeah, so we have quite a few people that have done the credentialing process through ICF. Suzanne's in the middle of that right now. I went through PCC last year, and then there's a number of others who are doing that. And we have a education group that's dedicated just to the credentialing journey. And I think that's on the fourth Friday of the month or something like that. It's headed up by Walt Hastings. And so that would be a good use of your time to hook up with that.
Okay.
All right. Fabulous. Well, thanks for joining us. Who's next? Okay, Suzanne.
Yeah, Carl's right. That is the fourth Friday of the month, and you can find it under education groups on the ICF Colorado website, and just go ahead and register. It comes with your membership, just like this group does. Yay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's see. So I have a new client, and I seem to be getting more into coaching leaders and executives, and it's fun. It's fun. It's a good stretch for me. I'm really enjoying it. Doing more and more of that, and meanwhile, I also have a couple clients who are more about transitions and finding their way through a challenging stretch around that in their lives. So I'm just having a great time playing in the coaching sandbox these days, and closing in on finishing up my documentation for the PCC hours, and I have to get off the perfectionistic dime and just do a good enough recording, and just, as the saying goes, get her done, and get that piece handled. So I'll get there.
So when you say transition, Suzanne, were you primarily talking about like job transition?
More like life passage kind of transitions, and job
cool.
too, both really. Yeah, I mean, I've got somebody who's dealing with both. Lost a couple family members last year and dealing with grieving all of that, and big, one of them is her young 20-ish son, and the other is her dad across the world died of COVID, and so huge transitions around that, and also transitioning in her work at the same time. So yeah, multiple transitions and life passages.
Okay. Fabulous. So let's see, Bettina, I guess you're bringing it up here.
Okay, I was trying to make a list. So many things happen at once. So I was finally approved to work at SBDC, Small Business Development Center, of one of their consultants for different languages. So I'm going to support Hispanic people, and also any people who speak English. And I started yesterday, was my first session. I'm very excited because it's going to open doors, and I'm going to learn so much with the other consultants over there. My assistant was approved by CSU to study there. She was looking for another assistant. And at the same time, my daughter was looking for a job. I was helping her find a job. And then I said, why don't I hire my own daughter? She's 16, she's capable, she's smart. And I said, it's going to be a struggle, but I tried, and she's doing awesome. I'm able to teach her a lot of things that we think it's so basic, but for them it's not, and it's going to help prepare her for the future. I think I'm working much more than if I hired another one, but I think it's going to be worth. And last week we had a meeting with ICF, and I was able to volunteer as a coachee. And we had a wonderful woman. She was 81 years old, and I was admiring her all the time. And she asked me if I could wave a one, correct me if I'm wrong. What would I ask? And I said, I will ask to have a content writer on my trial group for the journey to happiness. And this person will write everything for me and I don't have to write anymore. And I said, wow, this is possible. So I started looking for a content writer, and I'm in between choosing one to participate in my first Journey to Happiness training. And at the same time, Insight Timer invited me to do lives. I posted some meditations inside Insight Timer, and the ones I did in Portuguese have much more views than the ones in English, because in Brazil is not known. So I was invited to do lives with them. So I decided to do the Journey to Happiness live in Brazil using Insight Timer. And let's see how it goes.
You have the trip scheduled yet, or?
To Brazil?
Yeah.
I will go there, but to help my mom develop an experience on her Airbnb, a spa, I will do everything online for this.
Oh, okay.
I finished another certification. It's called Systemic Family Constellation. And I love this type of work. It's helping people unlock blockages. And I was interviewed by Pirate Radio to talk about it. It was a big challenge. So I think things are moving, but not as fast as I wanted, but I'm getting there.
Where did you find your content writers?
I participate in a lot of networking, and I just put my wish out. I want to find a journalist that really loves coaching and could help me out. And I found several of them. And the one that I most like is a student that graduated from CSU 2 years ago, and it's working for nonprofits. She has the kind of the same values than me. And it's important, if she's going to write for me, she needs to be aligned and needs to be a female. So I'm just talking to her to see if it's going to work. And I was invited to give my first speak, because they said if you go and do speeches and webinars, then it's easy for you to get clients. So local think tank invited me to give a speech for one of their chapters. So I'm really proud. I'm gonna get my first one as a coach. That's it.
All right. Fabulous. And as for me, as you know, I've been super busy with all of the Rotary stuff that I'm doing, because that's the beginning of our year. And so I've been doing a lot of getting organized and figuring out my new role there. As far as business development goes, have an interesting thing that I'm working on with Bettina that I'm surprised she didn't mention, but it's a possibility to bring in some great assessment training into Northern Colorado and to our chapter here. And so we'll see what that turns into. But they're targeting like the end of September for putting something together that. So working on that. I've had some other interesting conversations. A guy yesterday that does contracting with the government for coaches. And so I had been on their roster theoretically since the beginning of the year, but nothing was happening. And so finally they have a guy now whose job it is to do this. And I talked to him yesterday, and now he understands a lot more about where my specialties are and strengths, and what kind of engagements I'm looking for. Because he had previously just known me as the Zoom guy who does Zoom consulting stuff. And I told him that really isn't my primary business. My primary thing is small business coaching. So that was good. And still trying to catch up with the client that went dark in March because their business may be sold. And so they suspended the coaching for a little while because things are very chaotic right now. And so I think that'll come back, but it's would be nice to not lose too much momentum. So, okay, cool. So now the second part of the meeting, who would like to put something out to the group to have discussed? I picked up that Beatrice had some very interesting conversation about how do I get started? How do I get visibility outside? But I wanted to see if there was also anybody else who had anything that they wanted to bring to the group.
I would like to know the best way to create our own content, because if you're going to talk about the subject, there are so many subjects available. How do you create something unique? For example, we're going to talk about task management. This is something that every coach kind of help their clients. So how do you create something unique?
Okay, so how can we help you? Are you looking for ideas or inspiration or resources or accountability, or what would be most helpful?
Resources. So my Journey to Happiness has 12 modules with 4 topics each. And I would like ideas on how can I find more information about those topics, and how can I create something unique that looks like it's not copy and paste, and revamp content that's very important and relevant to the clients.
One thing I've seen a lot of people do is to lean heavily into their brand. And so, you know, I was at a presentation this morning where the lady was leaning into the idea that her presentation was all about F's. So, you know, fix this and find this. And, you know, so she did that. And I see people doing that with their brand too. Like one of my compatriots with the Small Fish brand, we say, how can we use that as a theme? Well, you know, what do fish do? They swim around, they live in the ocean, you might eat them, they might eat other fish. You know, there's a lot of images that people have. And we've even created some materials that would like do the diagram that you showed us, but using titles that have fish themes, you know, that kind of thing. But it comes from the brand. And that's one of the nice things about it. So I've seen people do that.
And where is a good place to research, you know, because all the training I received was in Brazil. Mm-hmm. And it's hard for me to be translating everything. It's easier for me to look for things in the US already written in English and work with them instead of translating everything that I have from my original coaching course.
Mm-hmm. Well, so talking to people that do branding, that can be helpful. So I've got a couple people probably that I could connect you with who have been doing some work in this area. So I'll get their contact information and send it to you. Okay. Because, you know, it would be nice if it's local and you can meet up with them in person. What other kinds of ideas that people have about creating content?
What about RSS? Putting some search on some subjects or words you're looking for, and then this RSS thing pop-up article talking about that, and then you can use that to get some ideas. That's what I do sometimes.
So you put on Google RSS and then the topic.
Yeah, RSS, it's like, I need to look for it. I can send it to you. I am using something to work on my social media. Like I'm using Social Bee. And then in that, Yeah. So you have an option using RSS, and they can pick some articles or material with some specification that you define.
Okay,
And that can bring you some ideas on some topics.
thank you.
Just so you know, Beatrice, that we have a Basecamp group that's dedicated just to us. And I haven't hooked you into that yet. I'll do that after the meeting.
Right.
But that's an ideal place to share resources that you don't mind everybody in the group seeing.
Okay, yeah, sure. And by the way, Bettina, I worked in Rio for 6 years, and we can exchange in Portuguese as well.
Wow. I'm so glad you're using Social B. I just hired Social B to create my content as well on social media. They're doing a great job.
It is great. It's a very good help. And I combine that with Canva. So I make I prepare some posts on Canva, and then I post it via Social B, and I schedule the post and stuff like that. So it's just some ideas.
Great.
Fabulous. What other kinds of things have people had for how to create your content and get it to be unique and inspiring?
I've been writing it myself mostly, but it takes so long. I fall behind. You know, I try to do 2 blog posts a month, and it's hard. I have to write for work too, so it's tough.
But how do you do it?
I post it on my website. I have a WordPress website, so I blog it. That I write the blog and post it there. And then I share it. Mostly I work on LinkedIn rather than Facebook. So I then post it on LinkedIn under my own profile, under my company page. And then I go through and manually add it to probably 15 or 20 different groups that I'm a part of.
Oh,
But how do you create your content? How you have an idea, and then how do you do that?
Oh, I see. Yeah. I keep a running list of ideas for blogs that either, come to me at 2 a.m, or I see something online, or maybe it's a common thread that I'm seeing with clients that, hey, this is something I could probably write about. So it's really just what I'm passionate about, what strikes me. It could be like the importance of empathy and compassion in leadership was one I did recently. And then I go do some research on it. And I always have a list of ones I could write that are more tactical for people, like how to make a really good request that includes what you would want to be your conditions of satisfaction, your timeline, kind of like communication tips and tricks. So I usually pull from that list, and like I said, I try to do 2 a month, but I fall short. I probably do 1 every other month to be realistic, which it really isn't enough.
I'm kind of like you, Matt. As I've been doing a blog post a week regularly, and I've gotten to the stage where I also have a newsletter. And basically the same article starts out on the newsletter, and then a few weeks later, it shows up on the blog, and that becomes my permanent archive. And then I'll go and share that on LinkedIn stuff. I also share it on Facebook and Twitter because it can be done automatically. So, but I don't know if people are really following that very much. For me, the ideas come from the best place I've found is when I think over what are interesting conversations I've had with people in the last week, because I can, write 300 or 400 words about a lot of things. I keep my things pretty short. And so the idea is just to pick one idea, dive in and say a few things and then be done. and not make it into a long task. So that's one source. Another thing is often when I'm reading other people's stuff, it's like, well, that's an interesting idea, but I wouldn't have necessarily approached it the same way, or it spawns some other thinking. So on my blog, I'll talk about it there. I've even had occasions where I'll look through graphics on Unsplash and find a picture that looks really cool, and then say, so what does that spark in me? Because a picture of children playing, and it's like, okay, well, I can translate that into the kind of clients I work with. I could say a few things. So I am generally running about 2 weeks ahead of when they get published. I don't want to run too far ahead because then they may not be timely or something. And then there's times that I'm falling a little bit behind, but my VA beats me up and says, we haven't seen that yet. So that helps.
One of the things I've noticed you do, Carl, with your blog posts that I think is effective is you send an email that has sort of a teaser. It's like a paragraph and a spiffy graphic, and you get people interested, and you kind of grab them, and then you say, I just have it right here.
Yeah.
Click
so the
here
idea
to learn
is
more.
that teaser is maybe 3 or 4 sentences and the graphic, and then, the read more link, which takes you to the website. And then that's where you have it. And then at the bottom, there's one sentence that says, hey, if you'd like to talk to me more about this, here's how to connect, or here's a resource that I have.
It's kind of a funnel in a way.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Grab the interest in the email, funnel that interest towards your website. Then they finish the article, and there's like all this other stuff, and there's this link to have a conversation, and
yeah. So that's the idea, right?
That's exactly how I do it too.
Yeah.
And then they even, and on the blog page, once they scroll, I think once they're on the page for 10 seconds or something, they get a pop-up to subscribe to the newsletter.
Oh, okay.
So that's to get people like from LinkedIn that click through and read to subscribe to the newsletter. And they don't get the pop-up if they're already on my list.
Oh, that's cool.
oh, interesting. So somehow your system is intelligent in that way.
Yeah, it's I use Klaviyo, and you can do that with it.
Is that CLAVIO?
It's KLAVIYO.
VIY. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, may have to check that out.
And you can do all kinds of drip campaigns with it. This is my background, so it's a really powerful tool.
Okay.
You guys think the newsletter are useful for a coaching or not?
I tend to say yes, because I've had several clients that have come to me after reading the newsletter for years. And they just pop out of the blue and say, hey, Carl, I've got this particular thing that I wanted to talk to you about. Seems like you're a coach. It's like, yeah, you've been getting my newsletter for 5 years now. And so, glad to see that you've enjoyed that, because that helps catch people. Because when you're talking to them in person, you don't know it's the right time in the right situation. They just met somebody at a meeting or something, and they may not have an issue today that's worth spending time and money on coaching, but maybe they will next year. And so that's my way of keeping those relationships going. And so when I make a connection on LinkedIn, generally they get a copy of my newsletter, and it's real easy to unsubscribe. So, some people don't care to be automatically subscribed to a newsletter, and I get that.
But how do you take the email from LinkedIn to put them in the newsletter?
Well, once you're connected with them, then the connection information will show you what their email is. And I've got a sequence of messages that I send first that is introducing me and trying to be friendly and saying, hey, you know, if you'd like to get together and have a conversation, I'd love to connect with you that way too. And that's for a sequence of 4 messages. And then after that, then it goes into the newsletter. I think I've got that sequence of 4 messages on our Basecamp group.
Do you mind sharing with us? Where can we find them?
Well, let's go. Okay, so 2021 Business Development Mastermind message board. Okay, so I'll have to search for it because I thought it was probably in our group, but maybe it was the group last year.
Is it maybe in documents?
Well, I'll chase it
Resources?
down. I don't want to spend time searching websites. That gets annoying. So I'll chase that down. So any other comments and ideas for Bettina?
You know, another strategy I use is sharing other content that I find and that, you know, articles that other people have written. The trick there is you can't share an article from another coach. I mean, it's, you know, you're giving them. So I like to find articles that really, they don't have an author attributed, or it's someone who wrote a book but isn't a leadership coach, just to kind of keep it focused on me as the coach. But I find a lot of content from other people.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you always want to make sure that you recognize the source and you know, provide the pointers back.
Right.
And, you know, it can be as simple as just hyperlinking the title of what you're talking about, or saying, and if you want to find out more, here's where their website is. It's really cool. You should check it out. And people appreciate that. Okay. All right. So Bettina, was that helpful? Did that get you started on getting some of the next steps here?
Yes, thank you. Beatrice, if you can contact with me later, I'll appreciate it.
Sure, will do. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Beatrice, you brought up the interesting question about how do I get visibility? So what would be helpful from this group today? What you want? Ideas, resources, conversation, coaching? What do you want?
Ideas of networking, but useful networking, like, because for example, LinkedIn or something, okay, you add people, but you don't necessarily get feedback from these people. And I find that the engagements are very low from people engaging through this network. So I'm just interested in networking usefully and getting some partners, and because resources, I know where to find resources, and I have ICF, and I have now your chapter, our chapter, but really how to find or where to find the people interested in coaching or who.
Okay. So probably the most helpful place to start is, what kind of clients are you looking to connect with?
Well, I'm looking for athletes, for expatriates, for anybody in transition. So I guess I've got a wide range I can look for.
You know, that one of the things that brings to mind is Patricia Reisch, R-I-S-C-H, is in our chapter, and coach. She used to live in Switzerland. She's back in the U.S. now, and she's from the U.S. But one of her specialties is coaching expatriates.
Okay.
From the US who have gone mostly, I think, to Europe. And so you might want to connect with her and do a little networking. You could ping her on Basecamp once you get into Basecamp. And
Sure, yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you.
mhm.
If you guys want, I can show the way I do it. So I have built a pipeline for me. So I know that how many strategic coaching sessions I can do. I name strategic coaching session is my free session so they can get to know my work. For me to attract clients to the strategic coaching session, I attend to networking events, mainly online. So I have to attend at least 2 per month. So I'm part of, can I share my screen, Carl?
Sure. Yeah.
How do I do that? It's available to share?
Sure. Yeah, I have it turned on. So you should have a share screen button at the bottom of your Zoom window.
I just have a new computer.
Big
It's not
green
allowing
button.
me. The problem is my computer. I have to change my system preference. Let me put it here 1 second so I can
Okay.
share. I'm not able to share, but I will try to explain.
Okay.
Beatrice, the way I do is I'm part of some groups on Facebook, for example, Girls Who Hike in Colorado. I'm part of some groups in Meetup, like She Goes High. I'm trying to create a chapter for them for international people. I was a Salesforce implementation partner, so I'm part of the Salesforce group. I have a group there called Salesforce Top Performance. So any topic that I have knowledge, I try to find groups and I participate on those events. When I attend to an online event, like we are here, can you see the screen that we have a lot of squares here in our screen? I do a print screen with all the participants. Normally the event has 15, 20, 30 people. Then I have their full name, normally, with the print screen. While we are in the meeting, I copy and paste their names. First of all, during the introduction, I try to find something that I like from this person. In your case, I like you because you have an accent, probably you're not from here. So right, oh, she's from another country, I will try to contact her. Matt, for example, he works in the marketing area. I have a connection with him, so I can just write down, Matt works in the marketing area. So I write some notes when they do the introduction. So this will be my hook to talk with them on social media. Once I have the print screen with all the participants, I include all their names on my CRM. And I have a field to include their Facebook link, LinkedIn link, or Instagram. And while we are in the meeting, I normally look for them online and try to find their profiles. I copy and paste the URL of their profiles on my CRM. Then I have a kind of a introduction that I do online. It's not well organized like Carl's. I say, hey, here's Bettina, Beatrice. It was really nice to see you at the ICF meeting. I noticed you are from another country like me. Where do you come from? Do you like Colorado, for example? Then we start a conversation. And my goal is to find a problem this person is having and invite them to do a strategic coaching session for me. I normally say, oh, I have a strategic coaching session that helps you build a plan for the year. Would that be helpful? I can give this for free if you like it. We can discuss about a possibly working together. And I've perceived that if I invite people to my strategic coaching session, I convert 50% of the people that comes. So my sales funnel is very well structured. I know how many networking meetings I need to participate, how many new leads I have, how many social media power hours I have to do, and then strategic coaching sessions. I mean, strategic social media power hour is something that I learned that I do 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I stay 1 hour on social media, and I have structured the way I conduct things. So all the social medias I'm part of, like LinkedIn, Instagram, social, how many minutes I stay in each social media. I start a timer. For example, LinkedIn is 10 minutes. Okay, what do I do in LinkedIn? I add 5 new people. I answer that many, blah, blah, blah. And I have a sequence of things that I do to be efficient and not to get lost on social media, because social media is kind of addicting, grabs you. So I go on all the 6 social medias that I work, and I do all the things in 1 hour. And I try to invite people to the strategic coaching session. And it's been working, but it needs dedication to interact, to participate on the networking, to include people on the CRM, to track all the emails that I exchange.
What system do you use for your CRM?
Salesforce.
Salesforce.
But I would recommend you to try it out Monday.com. It's much easier, less expensive, integrate with everything. And it's growing so much. It's 9
Monday.com?
Monday.com.
Okay.
Friendly user, use friendly, how do I say that? It's friendly, it's easy to use. But it's important to track, like Carl said, we start a relationship a few years ago, and then you have to remember everything that you talk with this person. So you need a place to land all this information.
I'd also throw out that Hootsuite is available, and their basic CRM is totally free. And it's really high powered. You have to jump through some hoops to get it to hook up to other stuff. And, they do try to talk you into buying the other modules, but it's pretty powerful just for the free version.
How do you spell that?
HOOTSUITE.
Hootsuite is similar to Social Bee, but much better. You can see all the social medias at once. You can post things. You can see the interactions, but it's pretty expensive compared to Social Bee. It's like 3 times more, but it's 3 times more better.
I think it's free up to 2 platforms.
Okay.
So you kind of blow through that pretty quick if you want to be on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Well, I really admire you, Bettina, for having that much structure. I've got a lot of that structure. I've got the tools to do it. My usage of it isn't nearly as serious. So there's a lot of things where I'll have my notes in a different system, not in the CRM, because CRM can be kind of a pain to get to. Especially if I'm traveling and just have my phone and things like that. So that's a really cool approach. The other thing that I noticed when you talked through that is it's really important to figure out which groups are likely to have the kind of people that I want to work with. And so for some people, LinkedIn is fantastic, and for others, it's worthless. It really depends where are your potential clients, where do they hang out, and where do they talk about the kinds of issues that you could help them with. So if we're talking about business professionals who have issues of cross-cultural things that they're dealing with in different countries. Because I kind of got the message, Beatrice, that that was a part of what you might be doing. Well, so are there places that support expats? Are there discussion groups? Are there in-person meetings? If I was an expat, where would I go for help and to meet my peers, because I'm feeling kind of lonely. And that to me is a really super important exercise to go through that thing, because, often when people say, oh yeah, you need to have a Facebook group and you've got to be doing, daily TikToks and all of this kind of stuff. It's like, but that's not where my clients hang out. that would be a waste of effort if I was to do that. So I have to be really clear on where do my people hang out, which is why I do so much with the Chamber of Commerce.
If you like athletes, Beatrice, Colorado Springs, they have a wonderful Olympic training center. Probably there are a bunch of groups there that you can look. But something that I would try if I was working with athletes will be to partnership with some doctors who treat injured athletes, because an injured athlete really will need strength to make a plan to come back, and they want and they have the wish. So in Vail, for example, you have a bunch of orthopedics of people who treat injured athletes. There are athletes from all over the world that travel here to Vail to be treated by them. So if you approach them on LinkedIn or try to go visit their office, explain what you do, that you're specialized in athletes, you can have a specific niche to help injured athletes to go back on track. And they can refer you because they know who is injured.
Isn't the Stedman Clinic one of the main ones in Vail? I think it's Stedman, Steadman.
Okay, good idea.
I notice you work with food as well, so you can help them with their health, with their mental thing, everything together, put up a package to make them get back on track.
Yeah, actually, I've got a nutrition part that I'm building up on my website as well, focused on allergies and special needs. So yeah, I can do that.
Very cool.
Well, I have to leave, guys.
Thanks, Roel. Appreciate you coming today.
It's been interesting to listen to these two ladies talk. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing some cool stuff, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. So, Beatrice, did you say you get the CPCC, CTI?
CPC.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Not CTI. Okay. All right.
No.
See you guys.
All right. Thanks, Roel.
Good-
We'll see you
good
next
luck.
month.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
So other thoughts about what Beatrice might be doing to increasing her visibility?
So I'm not saying this is better or worse. It's probably not as effective for the most part. But I don't have any kind of a CRM. I don't, to be quite honest with you, have a website. I'm pretty low tech, low key in how I market my practice. Thus, I mean, I'm not super busy, but I have really good clients who I love working with. That much I can say. But my main way of marketing my practice has always been to talk about what I do, to make sure that people in my different circles, my social circles, my professional circles, know what I do and who I serve, and I make a point of bringing it up. And like if people say, "How have you been doing? What have you been up to?" I talk about my coaching, and invariably, it seems like often there are people who just sort of either that person or they know somebody who really could use coaching, or somebody within earshot overhears and says, "Geez, I really need that. Can we have a conversation?" It's like they're asking for the conversation. I don't even have to offer sometimes. I would not underestimate the power of getting it on people's radar screens, people in your circle of friends and colleagues.
The thing I love about that is that those are people that already know you and trust you to some extent, maybe in a different context, but that's okay.
I totally agree with Suzanne. What I learned in my coaching training was that you have to be proud of being a coach. When we start, we are not proud yet. So it's hard to say, "Oh, I'm a coach. I started different." Like Suzanne said, "Oh, I'm doing this certification. I'm seeing results on my clients." So what comes first? having this this security or talking, you have to try and be proud of what you're doing, you know, and not questioning, and present yourself as an amazing coach. And then people will love you. Like Suzanne, it's natural. Everywhere she goes, she talks about what she does. That's a good advice, Suzanne.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And also, don't be afraid to ask your clients for referrals. You know, I've got some spots open in my practice. If you know anybody who you think could benefit from my coaching, please let them know. We'd love that.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they'll be your strongest supporters, right? Be your strongest supporters, because you absolutely changed their lives.
I got a referral from a client who I haven't seen in like 8 years, and she was having a conversation with somebody who clearly needed coaching, and I came to mind, and she said, "Oh, you should contact Suzanne Mariner. She would be great for you." So you never know.
Okay. Any other ideas and comments?
On regards what Susan said for asking for referrals, testimonials are very important. So if you get one client and you can have one video testimonial of this client, this makes a huge, huge difference. The way I normally do is when I have the last session, when the client is so excited, I said, okay, can you tell me why the coaching was so important to you? Say, wait a minute, I want to record this. And then I record. And then afterwards I ask, can I use this? It was wonderful what you said. I think this can change other people's life. Can I use this video? But sometimes they leave and I forget to ask. And I just discovered there is a brand new tool called Magnify that does automatic testimonials for you. How does this tool work? You make 3 questions and this tool will send this questions to your client. And the client will have like some seconds that will come 3, 2, 1, now answer this question. And the system will put the answers together with your logo, with the call to action at the end, and will make you the video testimonial for you.
That's interesting.
That's amazing.
You just send the email, you prepare the setup, and you put your artwork for the call to action. Then you have an automatic video testimonial. It's called Magnify. But you can do it with your phone at the end of the session too.
Like the idea.
Yeah, and you know, something like that has so much more impact these days than getting it in the written form. You know, I have written testimonials, but they don't have the same power as that.
So, and then another question might be, where would you post those videos? And I know there's a place on your LinkedIn page where you can post people's testimonials. I haven't posted any video ones. I've got some written ones. I hadn't even thought about posting a video testimonial.
So Susan, I have created a link YouTube channel just to post this type of videos. And I have them there. So whenever I meet someone, for example, I was coaching a teenager and her mom is so proud of her achievements. So whenever I meet another mother that wants to coach a teenager, I just say, take a look on what happened with this other family. Then I send the YouTube video for them.
That's great.
So
Yeah,
it's
fabulous.
a resource that you can send by email and on social media everywhere, but you have to have the video somewhere organized.
Yeah. And YouTube is the easiest because it's free and you can embed your video any place. And so it looks like it's on your website or something, but in fact, it's sitting on YouTube.
So you can just grab it from YouTube, copy it, and paste it somewhere. You don't have to store it on your computer. Right?
No, so for instance, when we put a video on Basecamp, what I've been doing is I'll store the video on YouTube, because it's huge. And then you go on Basecamp and say, I want to embed the video here, which means it makes a little window for it. So it looks like it's on that page, but it's really not. But when you click on it, then
And then
it's
it
like
takes them to
playing it off
YouTube.
of YouTube. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And so,
fascinating.
because we have a limit on how much space we can use on Basecamp, but there's no limit on YouTube.
Right.
I do videos as well for aha moments that I call. So whenever I'm in a session and the clients, oh, now I got it. Now I got it. So you got it. So tell me what you got it. And then sometimes I record, can I record your aha moments? And they love teaching others once they got it, the idea. So I have aha moments over there on YouTube as well.
That is so cool. What an
Wow.
idea. Okay.
That is brilliant.
So Beatrice, what are you taking away from this conversation?
Wow, a lot. A lot of ideas. Definitely that's my next step, and what I'm gonna spend time doing is looking for these groups and where I can build up my network. So where are my clients and how to reach them?
Mhm.
Because I kind of have the tools to give them once I reach them, but I need to find them first. So spend time on looking for groups and looking for where the people I can help meet and can be found.
And also what's unique about you and your coaching that meets those needs of your target market?
I don't know what the other coaching schools teach, but what I learned in my certification was that you should have a first wave of clients, 10 pro bono clients. And the agreement with those pro bono clients is that once they finish, they have the commitment to find a paid client to you. And I did this and it really worked. So I choose carefully those 10 people, and that's how it started. Those 10 people helped me find another 10. And every time I finished, said, do you know someone that can benefit for the same feeling that you're having right now? And they always referrals. So it's like one wave coming after another if you really treat the first 10 really well and do your best in the first 10 ones that are pro bono.
I've done that too in a little different way. So I'm working on my PCC hours, and most of them have to be paid, but they can be compensated so you can trade. So I went out and found a whole bunch of people that wanted coaching, said they couldn't afford it. And I said, well, I'll give you 6 sessions if at the end of that, you work with me to develop a case study of what we worked through. You refer someone to me and you like and follow me on social media. So, I'm getting a lot of marketing leverage from that. Also, I'm getting referrals, I'm getting the coach, and I'm getting my PCC hours. So that I would agree, that's a really good strategy.
Yeah.
Fabulous. All right. Yeah, we're basically getting down to the end of the time here, so probably not a good idea to open up another conversation. So let's go around the room and let us know, what is it that you'll be working on for this next month? What's the progress you want to make? Who wants to go first?
I'm taking vacation, so I'm not putting anything up for this month.
Well, honestly, that might be the best value to your business development of anything, right? Because this takes a lot of effort. So
yeah,
I think that is exactly the right thing to do. You going any place interesting?
Yeah, we go up to a tiny remote island in northern Michigan every year.
Okay.
My wife's family has some property up there, so completely disconnected, no Wi-Fi, probably a little cell phone, but yeah, it's good. It's a treat.
That's fabulous. Excellent. Okay. Who's next? Yeah, Jenny, you're on mute.
Just get some of these projects wrapped up so that in September I can focus more on this.
Okay.
I can go.
Okay.
So I have to change my internet to be able to give those live in Insight Timer. So I hire, I'm gonna change my internet, and I'm gonna prepare these 2 modules, the life purpose and task management, and give my first speech at the Insight Timer. That's my goal.
Okay. What's the the limitation you have with your internet currently that you need to change it?
They said you have to have a speed of download or upload more than 10, and my speed varies from 6 to 3. It's not that good. So I changed the internet.
Okay.
And they're gonna install in a few weeks. So once this is ready, gonna wrap up the content and start doing the lives to practice, and then translate to English and do research. Let's see if I can launch it in English as well.
Fabulous. Yeah, we'll be interested to know what the how that works for you, because I am not bilingual, and so the idea of doing something in one language and then changing it to something else and being just as comfortable with it, I'm not sure if I could do that.
I'm curious.
It's very difficult, actually. Sorry, I cut you,
Okay.
Stefan, but I found that I did my coaching study in English, and I cannot coach in French. The words
Really?
don't come in French. So
Okay.
I still coach in English until I guess I have enough practice to translate the right words and the meaning, because meaning are different. So even though I'm French, I'm not comfortable coaching in French.
Oh, that's fascinating. Okay, cool. Beatrice, so what are you going to be working on for the next month here?
Yeah, I need to get more organized and more system. I love Bettina like structure, so I need to learn from that and be more focused on building a CRM and or a system how to reach clients until I get at least 5 or 10. That would be great, but I know it takes some time and it's a long process, so I need to be consistent until I reach that, I guess.
Okay. Just as a note, Beatrice, one of the coaching efforts that I'm involved with is the one that Walt put together for coaching an organization called One Challenge. And they're a worldwide Christian missionary organization. But what's really interesting is a lot of these guys are expats, essentially. They're like in Europe or in Africa or something like that, and may or may not be American. It's a very international organization, and so a lot of people are dealing with expat kinds of issues. One of the clients I'm working with, who's in Africa, that's one of the things we've been talking a great deal about. And, you know, I have a little expat experience myself, but it's really not about that. It's about me helping him to think through these difficult cross-cultural situations that he's dealing with, and living in a country that he's never been in before, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's another kind of avenue to get hooked up with. Now, I mean, you can send Walt a message and ask him what the situation is with that. I think they're so far in process now that he probably wouldn't need more coaches in that program, but he may be connected with others that are doing similar things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, one challenge you said, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Thanks.
Okay, Suzanne.
Well, it's interesting how many resources and tools were mentioned today, and I'm just curious to explore. Some of them I've heard of but never really looked into. Magnify sounds fascinating. I'm going to check that out. Yeah, thanks for all these ideas. I'm gonna explore. See if anything resonates.
I just posted here on the chat if you guys want. This is a digital business card with
Okay.
all the links for social media. And I use this a lot on networking meetings. Whenever they finish, I post on the chat. So say, guys, please, if you want to keep connected, just go there and click. If you want to watch my podcast, everything, it's in one single place.
Oh my
And
gosh.
if you guys need help creating this, I can help you guys create this with your logo and everything.
Wow, I just clicked on it. Your picture is fabulous.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
very nice. Wow. You've got a lot of different social media resources there, don't you?
No
That's
kidding.
awesome.
Wow.
Because everybody has a different preference. Some people
Yeah.
like Facebook, LinkedIn. So
And I did something like that a few years ago, trying to put it all on a business card. And then I would hand that out. But the problem with a physical business card is that then it's not something I can mail to people. I have to meet the person in person in order to use that. And so for some reason, I haven't been using a lot of business cards in the last year. Not sure why.
It's interesting, Bettina. When I clicked on it, I got a security warning that says this document is trying to connect to Facebook. If you trust this site, choose allow. If you don't trust, choose block.
That's interesting. I didn't get any warning. It's a PDF, so it was happy to display it to me.
Yeah, I got the warning. Maybe my system's just set to warn me when
Well,
something's
maybe.
trying to connect me.
Well, and also you use those Apple systems, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay.
And something useful now that you're the king of Zoom, I created an image with my picture and a call to action to put whenever my camera is off on Zoom. So when I turn my camera off, this picture comes up and have my website and a brief call to action. So it's nice to have something specific on the format that Zoom requires, that people can take notes of who you are very quick.
Interesting. So rather than something like this, make it work for you.
So turn your camera off, Bettina, so we can see what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's here. I just bought a new computer. It's not here.
Okay, it's not on that one. Okay.
Oh, I'd be curious. Maybe send
I would
us a
try
screenshot on Basecamp.
Let me try to find here while you guys talk.
Yeah,
Keep
see,
talking.
because this is the one that I use, and people like the fact that it's a little bit different than what you typically would see.
It's beautiful. You just have, if you can adjust to see that you have some black space on the corner, you still have more space to work on. If you put on the corner and transform this in a business card with your website and your phone number and an email, that would be very helpful.
I'll give that a shot. Because you're right. That image is square, so I have space that I'm not using there. So yeah, I'll play around. That's cool. Man, Bettina has the tools, and so does Matt.
Really?
This is awesome. So I also was curious to explore some of these tools, some things I haven't heard about in the past. And being a tech geek, I get into that kind of stuff. But be working on the stuff with Loco Think Tank and the program that they want to bring here to the US. That sounds like it could have some really good value. And then I have some interesting conversations that are taking place now with potential referral sources. And so I've got a list of those that I'm working through to say, okay, let's have some deeper conversation here and talk about, do you really understand what I do with my coaching and why it's so cool? That kind of thing. So, okay, fabulous. Well, thank you all. Very energized, productive discussion today. It's such a joy to be able to be a part of a group like this. And so let's continue, please, sharing resources on Basecamp and continue these conversations. So otherwise, have a great vacation wherever you might be headed to. I'm staying home, so.
Oh, I have here the image. Let me try to copy very quick. 1 second. Let's connect a call to action, the logo and the name and some.
Oh, smart. What does WITY stand for?
Wisdom important to you.
Huh.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Always nice. I have a list of ideas to implement.
Okay, fabulous. Have a great month, and we will see you on August 25th, I guess it is.
Thank
All right.
you.
Yep.
Take
Thank
care.
you, everyone.
See ya.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.